tacked up. And if you get too close, you're getting cracked up. Stone cold when I roll, coming out of the hole. Get back, cause I'm out of control. I'm on the edge.
If you're a fan of motorcycle flat track racing, you're going to like the twist we have in this episode of Lucas Oil on the Edge. The pro motorcycle class will take on the icy oval track in Waiawega, Wisconsin. The studded tires will try their best to grip this track. It's all now on Lucas Oil on the Edge.
Fire on Ice is what it's called. Ken Stout and Brian Olson to call the action for you. Rob Klepper is out there in the frigid conditions. It's nice and warm up here in the booth at Waiawega, Wisconsin. This is Fire on Ice presented by General Tire, and you're going to see some pretty incredible stuff. I'm not going to lie. These guys are blazingly fast.
Yeah, 15 degrees. Wind chill is 10 below. There's a fair amount of wind. It's sunny out, but for these folks, they're very well used to it.
Absolutely, and as you can see, they're getting ready to line them up now. The fans also showing up. It's what they do up here in this part of the country. If there's ice, well, you just learn how to race on it.
Put some studs in the tires and rock and roll.
Well, if you want to get into ice racing, you want to do it on two wheels. You can't just run out to your local dealership, grab a bike, and then come on out here. There's a lot of modifications that these guys do to make them fast on the ice. One of the guys to watch, of course, Brock Schwarzenbacher. Let's talk about this bike. How do you get this thing prepared to run on the ice?
Well, you know, generally this is just a GNC caliber Kawasaki 650 Ninja Twin. Been growing up on the ice all my life. You know, I rode ice before I ever rode dirt, and you know, figured tires fit on it. Let's go race it.
What are some of the things you have to do to get this ready for the ice?
Well, you know, there's a couple of really good tire builders around. They do a good job, and they stud up these tires, and you know, we just go out and race it. My job's the easy part. They kind of do a lot for me and make this thing have unbelievable traction.
In the open class, so can we pretty much do anything as far as the engine is concerned?
Yeah, here you can. You know, it's actually 700. Starts out as a 650. It's a crotch rocket engine that we put in this bike and make it work, and it works great in the dirt track, and I figured, man, we got more traction here. Let's go put it to the ground.
So an interesting note there, they have more traction here than they do on the dirt as they stud those tires up, and that'll give you an idea of how comfortable they feel on them. I will tell you, it will spit you off in a second, though.
Guaranteed. And the other part about that is, in this sport, there are hardly any two tires alike, if you will. Every one of the fellas, or even ladies maybe, that do the studying of these tires has their own little quirks and their own little ways of doing it. But in this case, that 19 machine out front right there for Adam Bushman, his is working just fine.
And it is absolutely brutal out there. You can see the speed they are carrying. It is blazingly fast, and these corners rut up, so they have to deal with the ruts as well as they get a little bit later in the race. They also put their left foot down, kind of like the Hot Shoe Series, if you will. Needless to say, nothing is hot out here, but imagine trying to support yourself to some degree on the ice.
It is hard to believe, and you're sitting there watching for your own self, as Adam Bushman is just running away from this one, that these things actually will go just as fast and maybe a bit quicker than those on the dirt.
Well, and you can see that left foot peg as the white flag comes out. It's all but in the ice as he has that thing laid over as far as he can get it. Has to get out of the throttle there as he enters just a little bit wide, but a really late apex there. Pretty much how you run this oval to carry as much speed down the straightaway as possible. So enter it wide and close it up at the end.
Take that thing and take off the fenders and take out the studs, change the tires. You're running on dirt. But here's your champ of race 1, number 19, Adam Bushman.
Adam out of Oak Creek, Wisconsin, does a great job, man. Really drives away from the field here. Russell Bradley, Gordy Halsey, Phil Papour, and Colin Brill round out your field. All right, the Open Pro Motorcycles, Moto 2. Here we go again. The green flag flies, 4 of them in the race, side by side.
Oh, that is a good start there. And a much closer start here than we had in Moto 1. They are hanging right there together.
Boy, and a really nice run there out of the turn for Brock Schwarzenbacher as we go on board with Brock as well. He talked about the power in that bike, and he's flexing some of it right there in second place as he takes a look at the leader.
You got 700 cc's to work with. A lot of times you may not be able to put all that power to the ground, you may be spinning that tire. Janice and Schwarzenbacher battling it out, and Brock's trying to play catch-up. I just don't know he's going to get the job done.
Well, yeah, and I think Jesse actually drove in a little bit too hard, and I think Brock followed him right there, and it's very easy to do. Again, Brock kind of overshoots the entry just a little bit because he gets out there in the ruts that are a little bit bigger, so he might have to hang on to a second place finish here. He's making a run at him right now, though.
Oh, that's a nice looking ride right there. Remember, it is on ice, baby.
And
what
then, of
a
course,
finish.
That is the game, though. I mean, if you're behind and you can drive in on them hard and put some pressure, that is certainly how you get it done. He was closing the gap there, but it will be Jesse Janisch who hangs on to first, followed by Brock, then Ken Evan, and Dave Eben.
We love to hear from our fans. Go to www.facebook.com and become a fan of Lucas Oil on the Edge. Join our OTE private group or like our page. Then post your comments about this Lucas Oil on the Edge episode. This Lucas Oil on the Edge telecast is being brought to you by Lucas Oil. Made in America, sold to the world. General Tire. Anywhere is possible. Ready Liftoff Road Suspension. A new revolution in off-road suspension design and development.
Here's a quick look at some of the action that goes on here at the Fire on Ice shows. The action and racing is hot. Needless to say, it's all on ice, but it is second to none. There's such talented racers out here.
Yeah, they got sleds. They got sleds for the kids. You can see them right here. They got quads. They got these modifieds with roll bars. It is bizarre.
All right, we are ready for our Ready Lift Off-Road Suspension Motorcycle Final. There's a look at the starters, and we'll get these guys lined up here. Should be a great battle as you see them strung out across the starting line. Off to a safe start so far. A couple guys out a little bit wide, and a battle for the lead early on.
And I got to tell you, that inside line, clearly one of the best. That if you make your way to that turn one and you got that inside line and stay, that's some racing right there.
Adam Bushman gets the early lead, but then it was Jesse who really applied the pressure, came from outside in. Adam goes a little wide, Jesse a little wide, and here comes Brock.
The winners and the runners-up of Moto 1 and Moto 2 collectively, three of them, you could throw a blanket over them right about now, man. That is truly some big-time racing there.
That is awesome right there. Just like what you would see on flat track style dirt racing. They go outside in, the other guy goes inside out as they swap positions for the lead through turns 3 and 4 on board with Brock and Lucas Oil Products, and Brock trying to work his way into that battle.
That is a great shot. Also keep in mind, if you're one of the back markers or one of those at the tail end, you're going to be catching some of this icy dust, if you will. Very similar by nature if you were a back marker on a dirt track, and it makes it hard for you to be able to see.
And Jesse got out there, and the soft stuff kind of slipped up a little bit. Red flag, so we've got a nasty wreck out here, and we'll bring them all to the stop. It looks like it's going to be number 301, and that is Ken Evan.
Yeah, man, he had a chance to take that Geico machine, unfortunately, to a place he didn't want it to be, right into the bale.
Tough going for him. We'll get him regrouped and started when we come back. Welcome back to Weyauwega, Wisconsin for Fire on Ice show. Let's get you up to speed. It was a great start. It was Bushman and Janisch who put on a huge show, and then Brock Schwarzenbacher definitely has worked his way into this three-way battle for the lead before the red flag came out. It was Ken Evan. Ken is okay, but we've got him restarted right here.
And it all starts over again, man, in this situation. You could have a whole new leader if you had trouble on the original start. This opens the door for you once again.
And once again, it is Adam Bushman, the number 191, who is the guy that takes over the point, but now he will feel the heat from the other two competitors. These guys have so much speed.
Man, they definitely do. And back on board with Brock Schwarzenbacher, that is a great shot. And it gives you an idea how much of that stuff, that dust they're throwing up there, that's icy cold dust right there. And with that back fender being gone on that machine, not only is it spitting a lot more of that ice up, but you know, there might be a good bit of that stuff going up the back or the neck of Brock as he makes a move here.
He's taking a look down low on Adam. We'll find out if he can get another run now. We saw him do this a little bit earlier to Jesse. Gets a good run off the turn. He's going to take him on the outside. Oh, and just slams the door on him as he comes right across the front tire. He's wide, though. Here comes Bushman right back.
What a race! They're side by side right up against the fence.
No fear whatsoever out of either one of these guys as they try to intimidate the other, and Bushman gets a little bit wide on entry, and that allows Brock to get some breathing room. The checkered flag comes out. What a battle between these top three guys.
Man, what a race right there. Gosh, side by side. Right on, man, it's hard to believe. Yep, he's got his thumb up, but I don't think.
Yeah, Adam could care less about his thumb right now.
Yeah, I think he'd like to grab it and break it.
That's probably right. There's a look at the finishing results. Congrats to everybody out here doing battle.
Schwarzenbacher brought the big steam, and it paid off, man. Down the back straightaway, the front straightaway. You were bad fast, but talk about that pass here coming to start finish line.
Thanks. Total, I think I got 12 laps on the track all day. Every time we got out here, it's completely different. I got really super rough. It was fighting me pretty good. I was just being patient, biding my time. I knew I had the steam down the straightaway. I just need to set up the right corner, and it paid off this time. Waiting around and being patient. So, I can't thank my team enough. Revolution Performance put a great bike underneath me. Ron Hamp, Cycle Components. It says enough about that. You saw how good this thing was on the straightaway. So, yeah, just glad I ended up on top. It's a heck of a race.
Schwarzenbacher guys went to the top shelf and got it done. Picks up the win here in the open motorcycle.
Don't you touch that remote. Fuel altereds are next.
Listen up, Lucas Oil on the Edge fans. It's time to prove how much you love OTE by downloading the free Lucas Oil on the Edge app for your iPhone and iPad. You can check out the OTE schedule, see past shows, and meet the cast. In addition, you can browse the OTE apparel. This is an app that has it all and is a must for every Lucas Oil on the Edge fan.
Welcome back to Lucas Oil on the Edge. I hope you're enjoying this episode. We do our best to bring you the most action-packed motorsports events across the country. Let's get right back to the action.
Welcome to the World Fuel Altered Nationals, presented by Lucas Oil. We're at Eddyville Raceway Park in Oskaloosa, Iowa. These things have so much history. Of course, a lot of technology has moved forward here in current day racing for the fuel altereds, but they still bring the excitement that they brought in day one.
Well, guys, here we are at the 6th annual World Fuel Altered Nationals at the 8th mile at the Eddyville Raceway Park. Howard Knowles, your number one qualifier, ran a 4:54 at 153 miles an hour, but he's got some work ahead of him. He's got to go up against guys like Mike Allison, Bill Seals, and a whole lot more tough competitors. We're in staging. The cars are on the line. Let's go racing.
All right, round one action here. By the way, this entire event held in memory of Tim Hay and Joe Mondello, two of the biggest names in the sport, of course, and it's great to come out here, hold an event in their memory. Of course, we wish both of them were still here, but this is what they'd want us to do.
Absolutely. And Tim Hay, unfortunately, tragically lost his life at this event a year ago. And Joe Mondello was just a name in the industry, in the market, made blocks, heads, crankshaft, all kinds of innovative pieces when these AA fuelers were popular back in the 50s and the 60s, and they all ran superchargers and nitromethane. Most of these cars here today are replicas of said machines, but Mondello to this day, who unfortunately passed away, is also still a big part. The Mondello name continues on, as well as Tim Hay. James Sloan Jr. and Mike Allison. Sloan's transmission. Allison out first, but he red lights his chances away. He'll give the win right back to James Sloan Jr., who will go to the next round of 486 kid, 142.
Yeah, Allison rolled in there. I mean, he was just on the throttle way too early this time and gives it away.
That's part of the deal, man. You get up there, you get staged up, and on board once again with James Sloan Jr. and that Spencer chassis. AA fuel hauler machine.
Just, you got to love the way these things look. I mean, the open cockpit so they can see the drivers. That's the way it was back in the day. Basically, the lightest race car they could build with the biggest power plant was the thought process. And then, of course, they make them look so beautiful here today. Also, you just got to love the coupe.
And you know, at the end of the day, you got to remember this. It's the shortest wheelbase cars that they ran of the era, if you will. Now, we're in a nostalgia drag racing here now, but seriously, in the 60s, and even as early as the early 70s, this was how they did things. And if those motors would explode, they would catch fire. It was right square in your face, just like the front-end top-fuel dragsters, until the day that Big Daddy Don Garlits changed all that in the 70s.
Bill Seals and Dave Schaefer going at it here. And yeah, these things are still a big handful because of that short wheelbase that you're talking about. And you can see this coupe is significantly shorter in wheelbase than the Altered is on the far side. And it's going to be Seals who gets the win here. 456, 150 miles per hour.
That's a nice looking run. Keep in mind, we were only running 660 feet, the measured eighth of a mile, and right down almost the middle of the racing groove, a little bit to the right, but a good looking run and a round win here for the bright yellow Bantam Roadster machine of Seals.
All right, once again, we'll go down to Tony Bachhoven.
Well, Bill Seals, another one of those competitors here at the World Fuel Altered Nationals. You've been down this racetrack before today. You went out there in the first round. Nice job. You're moving on.
Thank you very much. Dave Schaefer is who we had to run against. He's a great competitor, a great person to have out here. And we have a lot of fun here at Eddyville Raceway Park. They put on a good show. They always give us a good track to run on, and no other place I'd rather be right now.
These cars look like a handful out there. You guys are laying down some really fast runs.
We're having a good time. Yeah, they're not as awkward as they think. But the crew, they sit the car up. All I got to do is push down on the pedal. They do all the work.
What do you think? Can you get your first World Fuel Altered Nationals championship this weekend?
Absolutely, I do believe.
Everything looks good when they run smooth, but it only takes a split second for it to get really ugly as we get to our semifinals. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it's going to be Bill Seals who goes right to the final round, courtesy of a bye run.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It just the way the ladder plays itself out, and one machine which has broken, and at the end of the day, it'll be a single due to breakage, but that's not what's happening right here. This will be the matchup of James Sloan Jr., who comes from a racing family. The Sloan family has built racing transmissions and converters for a number of years. They've normally run the rear engine dragsters, but James, who's grown up with his father and his mother, who basically have drag raced all their life, now loves this class category right here. That is once again a Spitzer late model roadster machine alongside of a true period look machine here for Howard Knowles.
And of course, Spitzer coming out of the northeast side of Indianapolis, a longtime chassis builder. As we take a look at Howard Knowles as well, keep in mind Howard Knowles had a bye run in round number 1, only went a 13-0. He's going to have to step on it here, and he's making it look easy. Just carries the front end out there on the wheelie bar, does a beautiful job, and goes into the final round.
Man, he goes quick for the round. Watch this thing leave that starting line. Now it's a pro tree, so just a flash of the 3 hammers and boom, out of there. 128, they're both basically 100 on the tree. And look at that thing dance around that left front wheel all over the place, keeps it straight, and right down the racetrack he'll go. And that is quick time of the event, 4:35 at 149.5.
So a beautiful job there, and that goes right back to the guy that set that thing up, because it was literally going straight by itself, no steering there. In fact, the left front tire really not on the ground most of the time. You can also see a little ventilation there out of the fuel cell.
Howard Knowles going on to the next round, 4:35. Howard, nice run.
Yeah, pretty smooth. It shook a little bit, but it wasn't real bad. And I got on the brakes a little bit too quickly, thinking, watching that guy run off in the grass, I got a little overreacted, but it was a nice, smooth run. I think we still got a little more. I think I can turn it up a little bit for the final.
We'll find out how things go. She had no concerns about running off the end of the track. She's just relaxing. Stay with us. The finals are coming up next.
This Lucas Oil On the Edge telecast is being brought to you by Lucas Oil. Made in America, sold to the world. General Tire. Anywhere is possible. Ready Liftoff Road Suspension. A new revolution in off-road suspension design and development.
Welcome back to the World Fuel Altered Nationals. It's time for the final round here. courtesy of Lucas Oil Products. We take a look at our ladder, and you can see that it's Bill Seals and Howard Knowles who will do battle. And Howard Knowles didn't show his cards in round one, but he certainly showed them in the semifinals. And now Bill Seals knows what he has to do. He better be stepping up on it.
No question about it. You know, Howard said he had a little bit more left in it. And he said, you know, I had to lift out of that throttle a little bit. I really didn't like seeing that car that went in the sand a little bit ago. And we'll see here because he's got to pull all the stops out to take the win here over Bill Seals. So Knowles and Seals go through their burnout procedures. And Knowles calls his car cheaper than therapy. Well, I'm not so sure about that. But I will tell you, if you look at the cowling of that car, you can see where the paint's burned off. That tells you there may be a time or two where that baby has been on fire.
So they'll back Seals up alongside. Seals in the far lane, that beautiful yellow and white machine. And then, of course, Howard Knowles, nothing but business over here for this one. Lay down quick ET of the day just the previous round ago. So we'll find out here if Seals has anything for him in ET. Oh, and Seals goes red just like that. And here comes Knowles anyways on the throttle. I don't know that Knowles knew Seals went red because, I mean, he stood on the throttle.
And, man, it looks like Knowles may end up in the sandbox after all, but look at his number. 430, call it 164 on speed. That baby was dancing around off to the center line, trying to keep that thing in the groove. And that parachute comes out. It never really did blossom to the very end.
Yeah, he pulled that thing a little bit late. Usually they drive into him, but nonetheless, he gets the win.
He's now a 3-time World Fuel Altered Nationals champion. Howard Knowles runs a 430, 163. My friend, congratulations. You're the first guy to do it 3 times.
Yeah, it was a real good weekend for us. We didn't start off real well, but we ran consistently after that. And I'd like to thank a couple of sponsors. I got Harmony Road Transmissions. They do all my automatic transmission work for me. And Alan Garrison does all my machine work. And I'd like special thanks to Victory Performance up here. They do a lot of driveline work, and they're great sponsors for our fuel altered organization up here.
Car looked like it went down the track real nice in this cool air tonight, a little different than what we've had all day.
That was the nicest, smoothest run I had all night, so it was very good. Smooth. They did a good job on the track prep. They had a little oil before me, and they got it cleaned up. Went down just smooth as glass.
Smooth as glass. In fact, guys, this guy is the first one to do it 3 times. He's won the World Fuel Altered Nationals 3 times now. Howard Knowles, your winner.
Hope everybody enjoyed all the great racing action from the Fuel Altereds and the Fire on Ice. For Tony Bachhoven, Rob Klepper, and Brian Olson, I'm Ken Stout. Remember, you're not living unless you're on the edge.